So this is the continuation of Lesson 8.8, Writing Linear Equations. Before break or in the last lesson, you were either given the slope and the y-intercept, or you had to find those 2 points from in a graph. This time we're going to write a linear equation in the form of y equals mx plus b from just 2 points on the line. So what's going to happen is you're given those 2 points. The very first thing is you're going to find the slope. So it's going to be really important that you follow these steps. Hold on a minute. Got to get that off of there. All right, so these are the 5 steps that you need to do, and I would have these next to you while you're starting these until you get the hang of it so that you know exactly what to do. If you follow these steps, you'll be fine. If you kind of skip one, then you're going to have some trouble. So again, you're given 2 ordered pairs. So you're going to, first of all, step 1, find the slope using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you'll find the slope from the 2 points. Once you have the slope, you have one of the 2 numbers you need for the equation. So what you'll do is you fill in the slope in that equation. You'll have m, that number, in front of x. So your equation will look like this. Y equals, let's say, 2x plus b. So you'll have half of it done really after step 2. The trick is you got to find the b. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick one of the 2 points and plug in the x and y in these 2 places. You can plug the x in there and the y in there so that the equation will have all numbers in it except for the letter b. Then you'll turn around and you'll solve for b, and then you'll have the equation. Some advice on picking the 2 pairs. If there's one without or with no negatives, that's the one you want to use. If they both have no negatives or they both do have negatives, then you want to go with the lower numbers. Okay, so you'll pick according to that. If you can find a point with no negatives, definitely use that one. Negatives sometimes messes people up. And if there's no choice on that part, then you'll go with the lower numbers of the 2. So those are the 5 steps you need to have to get this done. And what we're going to do now is just go through step by step of the equations, and hopefully you'll figure out that this can be done if you follow those steps. So, example 1. Okay, so this is the first example. The 2 points, or the 2 ordered pairs, are 2, 5 and 3, negative 4. Notice how I've already got those labeled up there, x1, y1, x2, y2. And the next thing that I want to do is to use my slope formula, which is...
Can you stop recording?
Yeah.
I guess we'll just have to restart.
No.
No.
So I'm going to add 18 to both sides. So b equals 23. So I plugged in 2 and 5 for x and y. And once you multiply these 2, then you're going to take that number to the other side to get b alone. And right now b is 23. So your final step will be to plug that in, and you'll write your equation. So y equals negative 9x, which we already had that, plus 23. This will be the answer that we're looking for. The equation is what you look for, the final equation. Questions about that? Okay, so let's try example 2. Does anybody want to try that? Okay, Stephen, what's the first step? Step 1.
Step 1, find the slope.
Okay, so what will I do?
Put negative 10 minus 2 over 5 minus negative 1,
Okay,
which turns into 5 plus 1.
5 plus 1. Okay, so negative 10 minus 2,
Negative 12,
and then 5 plus 1.
6.
So my slope is,
Your slope is negative 2 over 1, which turns into negative 2.
good, negative 2. Okay, step 2, we're ready to put that slope in where it belongs. So what would the equation look like right now, Stephen?
The equation would look like y equals negative 2x plus b.
Okay, so we've got half of it done at this point. Now we have to pick one of the 2 points. So either negative 1, 2, or 5, negative 10. We cannot get away from a negative. There's a negative no matter what. So, Stephen, which one should we pick, do you think?
You would pick negative 1, 2.
Right, because it has smaller numbers, we're going to go with negative 1, 2. So, instead of y, I'm going to write what?
And instead of y, you would write 2.
2 equals negative 2 times, and instead of x,
Negative 1.
negative 1 plus b. And now, step 4 is just carrying out those operations to solve for b. So what would we do, Stephen?
So you would take negative 2 times by negative 1.
Okay, which is
2.
2. So I have 2 equals 2 plus b, and now I've got to solve for b. What would I do?
In this case, you would minus 2 from both sides.
Right. And what happens? What's 2 minus 2?
0.
So, you know what? Your y-intercept can be 0. It just means that the line's going to go through where? Where does the line go through if the y-intercept is 0?
The line,
Which spot on the line? 0, which is also called the, anybody remember? Origin. Good. All right, Stephen, what's the final answer then?
Final answer is b equals 2. b equals 0.
Okay, but then we got to write the equation. That's the final answer is actually the equation. So yes, you did everything up through step 4. Now we need to write y equals. What's our final equation then?
y equals... Oh, y equals negative 2 times negative 1 plus
Nope.
0.
We had it about done right here when we got to this point. Remember how step 2 is half done? And the only thing's missing is the number b at the end. So the final answer is y equals negative 2x. And since the b is 0, you're done. That's it, right there. Y equals negative 2x. Questions about that? As long as you follow, yes.
Would it get counted wrong if you accidentally put plus 0?
It'd probably be a duh if you put a plus 0 on that one. So no, we wouldn't count it wrong. All right, questions about that? This is why you need to have the steps next to you. There's 5 things, but if you follow those things, it'll eventually make sense what you have to do, and it'll just come to you. But right at the beginning here, I think you should make sure you have the steps beside you. All right, let's look at these 2. So example 3. The first point is 2, negative 2, and the second point is 4, negative 1. Anybody want to attempt this one? Okay, Tori, what's the first step?
-1 minus -2, which would be -1 plus 2,
-1 plus 2, right?
and 4 minus 2.
Okay, so for the top, -1 plus 2 would be what?
1,
1. And then 4 minus 2 is
2.
2. And we have half of our two numbers we need to find. So, Tori, step 2 would be writing the equation looking like what?
Y equals 1/2 x plus b.
Very good. Okay, now, Tori, you have to pick a point. Either 2, -2, or 4, -1. These are pretty close. It really is a toss-up. Which one?
2 -2.
2, -2 sounds good. And you can pick either one. You're still going to get the same answer. Okay, so Tori, what am I going to plug in for y then? If you -2 equals 1/2 times, what are you going to plug in there for x then?
2.
2 plus b. Okay, so we're going to go -2 equals, what's 1/2 of 2? What's 1/2 times 2 or 1/2 of 2? 1 plus b. And what do I do to solve for b now?
You subtract 1. from
Very
both
good.
sides.
Yep, subtract 1 from both sides. So b equals -3. And we're ready to finish it off. Now, I can tell you, a lot of times when kids do these, they're so happy they found the b, they stop. But you're not done until you write the final equation. And remember, you're half done right here. So, Tori, what would we finish off with?
Y equals 1x minus 3.
1/2 x, and then
Minus
-3. Perfect. Very good. All right, we've got one more. 3 -6 and 5 -6. Let me show you what happens here. So my slope is -6 minus -6 over 5 minus 3. And that minus -6 on top becomes a big plus. So what number is -6 plus 6 going to be? 0. And it really doesn't matter what the number is on the bottom, because 0 divided by anything is 0. Now, here's the tricky part. You have y equals 0 times x plus b. What does this mean right in here? What's going to happen with 0 times x? It's going to be 0, so it's going to fall out. Our equation is going to be y equals b. It doesn't matter which point I pick, does it? I have to pick a point. Let's pick this one. What am I going to plug in for y? Yeah, wouldn't it have been -6 no matter which one I picked? Okay, so it says b is -6, so you're going to bypass all this, and your final answer is y equals -6. Do you remember what kind of line that is? When the slope is 0, what does a 0 slope look like at perfect north? Right there, horizontal, 0. So y equals -6 makes sense, because when there is a y only, that is a 0 fun, a horizontal line through that y. All right, questions about that?